Revealed it. Rodrygo, Brazilian international, Real Madrid. Now, there's plenty of talk, as we said in the transfer show. Marcy saying that not happy there, didn't get a single minute in the El Clasico. But more importantly, as we also said on the transfer show, Liverpool are making a move. They're trying for this one. Again, it's this other feeling of a big name that's difficult to do this summer, possibly. But we've got to explore a guy with, we can't undercook this, Bart, a hell of a pedigree and trophy collection already. So, Rodrygo, let's run the profile, the normal stats, the minutes and everything else, and see what we get.
Yeah, I think this season is a different one for him, right? And that's, he's not played as much as he probably would have liked. He's down. Saying that, his minutes aren't actually, it's they're 1900-ish. I think this is the league. Compared to last season, he was 23. So there's a drop off, should we say? Yeah, and he's he's started 4 games less than he did last season in the league, right? So that's a difference. But there is a hell of a lot to like about this player, right? Let's not beat around the bush here. This guy has, as you said, as quite rightly said, has got the pedigree. He's played. Yeah, so there you go. So if you combine all competitions, he's actually made a similar number of starts than he did last season, right? It's just when you look at where they are this season compared to last, right? He's played less in the league. He's played a similar amount of cup competitions, Champions League. He's played 1 game less. So yeah, there's a little bit of difference, should we say, when you start looking at various things in terms of starts when he hasn't, right? So yeah, 22 match starts compared to 28 last season. 12 starts in the Champions League versus 10 this year. There's just little differences, should we say, in when he has played and when he hasn't. And we all know why that is. And that's something out of his control, right? He's not. He knew in the summer, and you saw him after was it Champions League win? Whenever it was, I think he was interviewed sort of a bit downhearted about the win, because I think he realised that might be his last time he was the real leading light, should we say. So, but having said all that, if we collapse it back down, he still played over 3,000 minutes, right? Yeah. Last season he played 3.6, season before 3.7. So he has a pedigree of playing a lot of minutes, right? Yeah. Which, that is one of the things that we desperately need as a player. If you look at what does he add in, so this season, given all of that context that we've already said, whenever he's played, he has added plus. Let's just top of that per night. He's added 0.15 xG, non-penalty xG. Previous 2 seasons was slightly lower, so he has added to Real Madrid when he has played, right? Which again is good to see. In terms of goal and shot creation, combining that, so total per 90, he is last season was 0.53, 82 in a real purple patch, right? So there's some changes there. Obviously, if you're not going to play as much, it's more difficult. If you get shifted position around as well, there's going to be some stuff to impact in there. Defensively, he is he's not going to be a top performer, but I think his game has improved slightly this season. It's 1.575, so it's gone up a little bit. And possession, if we just have a little bit, so where we're taking on the take-ons this season, he's got more successful take-ons, but his volume's down. Touches in the attacking third, are slightly down from last season, but not by much. In terms of penalty box touches, down slightly, so 182 versus 268. So, yeah, there are some things, but as I said, that is just largely, I think, down to his position's changed, his playing time's changed. And he's got to be a little bit, but he's still having a positive impact on Real Madrid when he is playing, right? That's not to be sniffed at. I was just looking at his aerial duels. Last season was a high for him at 71, and this season is at 30. So, but if we go to our usual kind of shenanigans with him, I would suggest that he has some top level bits. We shall compare him to some of our favourites. We'll compare him to Diaz. We look at his overall as an AM or a winger, which I think is. If you look at I think this may have changed over the last few days, by the way, because Diaz has been in the news talking about contracts and the rest of it. But if we're looking at that kind of size, or even if we say 2 years ago, so we bring in some, that kind of options. So we put him in that profile. Defensively, okay, he's in 63rd percentile of blocks, interceptions 50, and tackles. He's probably a little bit higher for us. But what has he done between the boxes? His passes attempted 87th percentile, pass completion 86%. He passes, that's 98th percentile, right? So that's very, very good for it. But you'd expect that a Real Madrid player has to be good on the ball. It's like a Liverpool player. Have to be good on the ball. It's their whole DNA is the ability to pass the football. But what he also does is he carries it. 87% percentile for progressive carries, successful take on 77, touches in the penalty box 81st percentile, so nearly 6 a game, and progressive passes received at 90. So, but this is where he's probably slightly deviated off this season. He's not in a particularly 81st percentile, but that's not actually him taking any XG. It's him creating things for other people. Okay, so or assisted down actually. So it's a little bit of combination. He's creating shot creation, but might not be a direct assist. If you compare him with forwards, so we compare him as Diaz as a forwards, Diaz probably outperforms him this season. This season. Again, some good metrics there. Maybe not so great in the box, but in between the boxes. So I think it depends on what profile you want to compare him with. If you compare him as an AM, he does outperform Diaz on a lot of the metrics, bar the actual scoring the goals, because Diaz is having a purple patch this season, whereas Rodrygo isn't. So there is some things to look at. Looking at the main dash that I sometimes do for them, looking at where we are, he's involved in Real Madrid's play every other minute, which is impressive considering he hasn't started that many games. Interestingly, he's making passes in both half spaces and some in zone 14, which is what we want. In terms of threat creation, we have him in and around good air. So the areas he will be playing in is the half spaces, which isn't as high on here as you'd expect. So 7 and 12 and 18, 6 are the wide areas. So that's something this could indicate how he is. But in terms of defensively, he's defended well in terms of stopping threat going the other way. So there is some things on the docket for him. This particular game, he contributed in terms of 4.5% of team EPB. So not a great game for him, but pass success still good. Dual rate 40% for a wide player at 58 touches. So he had 2 shots with 0.06 XG. So not a strong game for him. But I suppose it's where you're bringing him into play. Is a key thing. Who you're replacing him with. But I think the guy does have pedigree. I think we were talking before we have the last year is probably not a fair reflection of him, because the previous 2 years were highs of his, and we all remember him playing really well in the league final. So there's various. He has been there, done that, won multiple competitions for Real Madrid, and you can't say that he wouldn't be. He definitely has pedigree. In terms of XT. To give you an idea, even in this season where he's maybe not been a star in light, he's got 0.15. So if you're playing him up top, that's an improvement on Jota and Diaz. Jota and Nunes, sorry. If you're playing him wide, that's a slight nudge above Diaz and Cody, who are about 0.14, 0.15. So yeah, it's nowhere near Mo levels, but it's still it's better than the 2 9s we have, and it's better than Chiesa purely because he's playing. So yeah, I think this would be. I think people could be excited by this guy signing from Real Madrid, definitely. And he's a winner. He's won a lot of stuff at 24. He knows how to get across the line.
I mean, as well, we talk about this honestly, that the key things, and it does feel like if it was, it would be for Luis Diaz more than anything. But Rodrygo is just 24, isn't he? Whereas Diaz is 28, nearly 29. Even in his worst season, which has probably been this, and there's reasons for that, as we know with Mbappe in that scenario, he's still got 23 goal contributions. And last season, he scored 18, the season before 19. We shouldn't just ignore this. This is also a guy that can play across the line, isn't it? It's important to say. Could also, not his favourite position, be a centre forward, but could play left, could play right as well. There are so many reasons to like this signing, isn't there, if it was to happen?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've just pulled up there comparing it to Darwin, and he's even in a poor season, he's better than Darwin on nearly everything apart from some of the goals, obviously. But so I think if you look at where he can play, what he can bring to what he can do, given that platform, I think this could be a really astute signing. It would suggest that someone is leaving. Like, unless he's playing down the middle, which we're all pretty set on our 9s being changed, then if you're bringing him in to play left, then one of those is leaving, because this guy is not being brought in to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
He's not going to go, I'll leave Madrid for the Sun to go and sit on the bench for Liverpool. He ain't going to do that. He's going to come in to start.
No. It will be interesting to see if this does get pursued further. But there you go, ladies and gents. There is Rodrygo on the docket.